say exactly who's responsible until we get into all the details about exactly what happened, but there is absolutely the potential that the farm is responsible for this injury, depending on, was the farmer perhaps reckless in how the boxes were placed or stacked, were there other things going on that really shouldn't have been? I mean, the bottom line is that a farmer would need to defend him or herself in this situation, and of course might need to pay money if the judgment was successful. So an insurance policy will pay for the defense and the resulting judgment in this kind of situation, but a insurance policy is a contract. And of course, it is only governed by the terms of the contract, which may not be intuitive. Okay, so on that issue of the insurance policy, I'm wondering how often any of you have, or if any of you have taken a look at an insurance policy. Have you read it from front to back? And I have a couple of responses for you. Yes, and it was quite clear. Yes, and I didn't understand it. Yes, but I quit after the second page. Or no, you've just never read it. And while you're voting, I'm going to confess to you that I really hadn't read an insurance policy front to back myself until, of course, I had a farm client. And I had three policies in front of me for the farm business: the farm, the commercial, and the workers' comp policy. I timed myself reading these three policies. And in the end, it took me 40 hours to read and understand all three of them. So I can understand the 27% of you who have not done that, and then the 29% who quit after the second page. Looks like the majority of you tried but did not really understand it at 31%. And then we have 10% of folks who are really good and totally got it. Okay, so we're talking about this incident where the 2-year-old is injured, and the mom's health insurance company calls you up and says, "You pay me back for this bill. Is your farm liability policy going to cover it?" Well, and farm liability is the most common policy held by farmers. Whenever I do these surveys, more than twice as many people have farm liability as any other policy combination. And the bad news is it will probably not cover injuries that happen on a drop site. A farm liability policy covers the farm and sometimes a farmer's market stand. Insurance companies are not necessarily thinking that a CSA drop site fits under the definition of a farmer's market. So this is not going to be covered likely under a farm liability policy because of the off-farm exclusion. Now, the homeowner's insurance, the drop site homeowner, her insurance is not going to cover it either because this is a business activity that's being conducted on her home, and she has an exclusion for that undoubtedly. So in the end, if no one's going to pay for this defense, you might be left with that. And that is not necessarily a situation you want to be in. And I hear of this kind of thing happening around the country where, there are kids at drop sites. People pick up their shares too late at night. There aren't lights, normal old issues. And it's starting to happen. But fortunately, the solution is pretty clear. If you want coverage for off-farm injuries, you need to get a commercial general liability policy, often called a CGL. And you can also ask your agent about an incidental business endorsement. So look into getting coverage for those drop sites. It shouldn't cost that much more. And to be honest,